I think it is such a nice thing to do and to recognize the people that came over here in those days to shape the NHS. Yeah, that's why it compelled me to do this.
It changed dramatically. It was, like the rest of the country, very derelict, very dirty and old. This was 69, so that's a lifetime ago. And as the years went on, in terms of the environment, it changed because, of course, you had a lot of migration. You had a lot of people coming from all over the world and places like the Caribbean. Black people are naturally very colorful anyway. So you had a huge introduction of color and culture, traditions, legacies. My husband was a founder member of the Notting Hill Carnival. And of course, that is a lot of color and brightness and song and dance, and it was very much like home. So it made life much easier.
I went to Killarney and I did a seasonal work, and when I asked if he could raise my wages, which was £4 then, to £5, he said he couldn't. So I thought, oh right, it's time to do something else. I went home, thought about it, and I went and bought the Universe to look at some ads, because I thought to myself, why don't I try nursing? Everybody was going nursing.
First time abroad, and it was very, very dismal, and it was raining, I could remember, and it was cold. The building was also different from what I was used to in Malaysia. Lucky enough, I was in the East End, and I didn't have time to get homesick because all my classmates were Malaysians, 2 from the Caribbean origin and 1 Britain. So we tend to gather all the Malaysians, and we had a good time.
My name is Michael Dimov. I am from Bulgaria originally. The reason why I'm here today is because 5 members of our family work for the NHS. My brother and his family came to the UK directly from Bulgaria back in 1994, while myself and my young family first went to New Zealand, worked in the New Zealand health system for nearly 10 years before coming to the UK in 2004. For us, it feels unusual that there's 5 of us in our family working for the NHS, and the fact that we all fulfill different roles.
I came over here in 1974, and it will be 50 years coming April. I always wanted to be a nurse. There's not many chances back in Malaysia to train, so I just jumped at the chance to come over here.
I became a consultant cardiologist in 1979, and I worked for the NHS for 53 years. In 2004, I was appointed OBE for the contribution that I made to cardiology. Not only that, but my elder daughter, Nitha Nakwe, she is a consultant pediatric cardiologist at the Royal Brompton.
I had a 40-year career in the NHS, and at the end of my career, I was honored by the Queen with an MBE for my outstanding contribution to the development of midwifery services in London. So I think it's important to share our backgrounds and where we've come from, and to talk to people about our contribution to multicultural Britain.
The undying principle of my life is to serve my fellow human being. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. Any man's death diminishes me. The great John Donne said that 400 years ago, and I subscribe to that. I will continue to make a contribution to humanity, and to be able to share it as well, and to be able to give to the people who come after me things that I have learned.
I've done a lot of research over the years, in fact probably over 30 years, on Irish nurses in Britain. And I've actually published a book, Ireland's Lost, Britain's Gain. I just felt it was kind of a neglected subject, their story. So I spent years researching and interviewing. And, in the end, when COVID came, I thought it's now or never.
We can be a place that contextualises contemporary debates about migration against a historical backdrop, so that we can have warmer, more informed, richer, more stimulating, more enjoyable conversations about migration. And the museum can be a place where people feel valued, where their stories are seen and heard and they feel represented. It's really exciting that this project is now actually coming home. We are going to secure the permanent home for the Migration Museum.
The heart of the nation deserves a central spot where it's accessible, visible to everyone, where it's celebrated. So that's what having a museum would mean, a place where we can celebrate our identity as a nation.
Well, I think it's badly needed. I really think. I mean, there's so many migrants and so many that have contributed, and hasn't been acknowledged that so many children and grandchildren are descendants of migrants, you know. So I think it would be very interesting, you know.
Britain is so diverse, and there's so many people from all over the world settling here, and we need to know a bit of their culture and where they come from. And it is an eye-opener to come to Migration Museum.
Migration is an essential British story, and what's been so interesting about doing this work at the Migration Museum is it's sort of seeing, when you scratch the surface of anything, you realize there's a sort of story of migration underneath it. I think, you know, the sort of conversation we have about migration is so toxic sometimes. Finding those stories, finding that connection is just one way of enabling us to live better together.